You have a business plan? Have you written that down? How are you going to get there? What is your business going to be?
If you don't know where you're going, how you're getting there, is that really a goal?
Life doesn't happen by happenstance. It's the actions that we take, the decisions that we make that controls what we do. So we have to be very, very intentional about what we do.
Follow the SMART model. That's the best way to go. SMART model. S, be specific. M, measurable. Is it measurable? A, attainable. Is it attainable? The R, realistic. Does it make sense? The last one, time-based. It has to have time. These critical keys help you put the work in.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Build Your Best Life. Conversation with the guys. It's another great episode, another beautiful morning. And I just want to say hello to all of my distinguished colleagues that's on here this morning. You know, it's great to see you guys again. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Good.
Great morning.
Great. Yeah, you know, we're getting ready to get into a deep subject today, you know, something that's very, very, you know, important. And we ready to discuss it this morning. And, you know, for all the new viewers that may be viewing today, you know, I'll go around, you know, to each one of our distinguished, I would say, I don't want to say guests, I want to say hosts, because we all are, you know, very, very experienced in what we do and what we say. And, you know, and I just want to put it out there like that. And I just want to say my name is Coach Dr. Kevin Wilbon. You know, I'm a coach. You know, I'm an author. I'm a military veteran of 24 years. I'm also an educator. And I want to thank Coach Deborah Smith, you know, for having me on as a distinguished guest host. And I'm going to start, you know, from my up left top with Deacon Dan. You can go ahead and you can go around and, you know, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Well, good morning. My name is Deacon Dan Smith Jr. I'm a retired law enforcement officer. I'm married to the lovely Coach Deborah Smith, for the past 24 years. And also, we just had a new granddaughter. So that gives us 7 grands.
All right, congratulations.
She's such beautiful. I went visit them yesterday at the hospital. And so I had my granddaddy do this. I had to feed the baby and work the baby and that thing. But anyway, since I've been retired, I developed 2 businesses, organized 2 businesses, one the handyman service, of the lawn service. They're doing very well. And like I say, I am the chairman of the deacon boards of St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church under the direction of Dr. John E. Guns. And I just, you know, just love to be here. And these young men here on this morning, they are outstanding, great men.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Great morning, all. Great morning, all. I am Elder Dr. Joseph Levat. I'm 32 years retired Army, and now I currently serve as a hospice chaplain. Been doing that for about 3 years, and I love the work. It's a good work. It's the most important and most needed work. I'm married to the lovely Tony Levat. We've been married for 18 years in August 20th, and we have 4 children, 1 son, 3 daughters, and 10 grandchildren, and we recently celebrated the birth as well. So I understand those granddaddy duties, Deacon Dan. I've been on them. They ongoing too, man. I'm letting you know. Don't stop. But yeah, we love having them new additions to the family, and and I'm just excited to be here. I'm always excited for this platform. Look forward to it every month, and I thank Coach Deborah Smith for allowing me the opportunity to serve on such a important platform. I mean, I think this platform should go all over the world based off the information that's provided.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Pastor Ricardo Miller. I'm a life coach, and I'm located in Dallas, Texas. My wife is Karen Miller, and both her and I are living life to the fullest. We have 2 kids. RJ is 21, and Grace will be turning 12 real soon. We just got a dog, and so that's a whole new experience for us. And so we're trying to talk to Deacon Dan about the possibility of getting a dog down there in Jacksonville. So I'm going to say else.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were talking to him about relocating to Jacksonville, but anyway. I was going to jump in on that.
Hey, if we relocate to Jacksonville, the weather is so nice there in Florida. I can go back to my Bahamas roots, which means the dog needs to be outside.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Today we have a serious topic today, and our topic is help. I've been raised by a village of women. Okay, help. I've been raised by a village of women. Okay, we're going to discuss that today. And the family unit has drastically changed due to today's decrease in marriage, increase in male incarceration, and other reasons men walk away. Many families lack a male role model presence, but today our conversation surrounds the impact on young males in a female-based community. Okay, and me personally, I was raised by my mom, and my dad, and I was around more guys, more so than women. So this is something that's new for me. And, I'll be educated on this as well. But I have been around a lot of females in my lifetime. So, I do know a little bit about this, but I'm sure you 3 guys, y'all probably know a lot about this. So we're going to jump right into it. Okay. And, first, I just want to say, there are traits young men often learn from conversation or advice from mothers, educators, all alike. However, there are too much of this in part. Do you want to elaborate on this? And I'm going to start with you, Coach Ricardo Miller. I want to start with you on that.
How to keep employees engaged
Wonderful.
and productive.
Okay, good stuff.
Z.com. This is weekend.
Who's playing that? Which one of us is doing that?
I don't know. There we go. Whoever it was is gone now.
Good I don't know what happened to my radio. My phone, something popped up on it and started talking.
All right, go ahead, Coach. Give me that question again.
I'm gonna give you that question again. All right, there are traits that young men often learn from conversations or advice from their mothers, educators, and all alike. Well, however, there are too much of this imparting. Do you agree with that, or can you elaborate on that a little?
I think it can be said in certain situations or circumstances. I grew up in a single parent home. My mom was the only person, but my mom sort of made sure she tried her best, at least, to push some of that advice that would be given to me from a male, even though there weren't a male there. So she tried to advise me as to what she thought a male would say, or what she may have saw her dad taught her brothers early on. But I'm of the belief that a lot of women are raising boys. There are a lot of single mothers who are, I think they're doing a great job with the cards that they've been dealt. However, boys need their fathers. Boys need a man in their life. I don't believe a woman can raise a boy to become a man successfully. Now, some women may argue with that statement and say, well, I know this person and that person who have done it. I would probably beg to say she may have done well as a single mom, but let's go ahead and give credit to the village. Let's give credit to the village. Let's give credit to the coach at school. Let's give credit to the youth pastor at church. Let's give credit to the, the teacher, the male role model teacher at different levels of the child's development. And so a lot of times when you hear of single moms doing good or great, I salute them. I salute them, and I think those ones who are doing that, I think they should celebrate the fact that the village helped to raise their child as well. And then those who may not have the father in their life, I think it's important for them to realize that, hey, I may not have the male father in this child's life or in my children's life, but I'm a strong advocate for a village. I believe in the support of those in the community that have been, they say it takes a village to raise a child. I think oftentimes there's those uncles, there's those big brothers, there is I'm going to be real quick with this. I remember my first time having to tie a necktie. Deacon Dan, I remember at church, they said the men's choir, everybody got to wear a necktie. There was a men's choir day. And come here, remember those men's choir day, right? They had a men's choir day and they had to wear a necktie. And I was from a neighborhood. I was catching the church bus to get to church, and I didn't have no mail in my home. And I bought a tie that weekend. I was about 19 and didn't know how to tie the tie. I sat on my porch thinking, I ain't going to church today because I can't tie this tie. And then I thought for a moment, my neighbor next door, Mr. Robinson, he's a taxi driver. He has to wear a tie every day. And he wears a tie every day. I knocked on his door, and he remembered me from the gang, so he didn't want to open the door. He's like, hey, what you want? And I said, sir, I'm about to sing in the men's choir at church. I don't know how to tie this tie. He said, he thought I was trying to set him up. He looked to, let me see this. And so long story short, he came out, and he showed me how to tie a tie. And he said, anytime you need to learn how to tie a tie or need to tie a tie, come see me. I learned how to tie a tie from him, along with, while he was teaching me how to tie that tie, being a seasoned man, he gave me other wisdom the same time. So it helped mold me. So I am a product of a single parent home over time with the positive contribution of other great men like Mr. Robinson helped to add value to my life.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, Deacon Dan, how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, a man is born of a woman. So those ties are there. They have a relationship there. So I feel that it's not too much important. But it is one of the biggest challenges trying to, the mother's son can be overbearing. And it's hard to, sometimes separate. But that, we do need that. And because I was raised by my mom and my dad worked all the time. But one of the things, he's just like E.F. Hutton. If he talk, you better listen, So, but I think that's one of the greatest things is just continue to do that. And if the parents not there, I take our church. We have parents that, hey, Deacon Ed, you need to talk to him.
Yeah.
Or one of those. We have, role models there. And then we have this group also called Save Our Sons, which has been developed by our pastor. And, we have opportunity to work with juvenile justice system where we bring in these young men and we sit down and talk with them. But it's not there's too much important in that. I don't see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Elder Dr. Levette, what you guys say about this?
I would say the thing I like about a mother still raising a child is because I think that Deacon Dan said it first. When the first bond of a man is of the woman when he's born. But I think as they grow, if it's a single mother, she does still have to teach him those values and traits that he needs, that everybody needs, those basic values and traits that can apply to both male and female. But I think what can happen if they're not careful is that the male will pick up female tendencies. And that's what you want to avoid. And growing up too, my dad was in my life most of, my dad and mom. I grew up in a dad and mom home, and of course, my father had a stroke when I was about 16. So kind of lost a little bit of that. But however, I had uncles. I had those uncles. My mom on both sides of the family. My mom on my mom's side, and then I had an uncle on my dad's side who lived locally. And they, a lot of times they come and get us and they take us out and teach us how to cut grass and how to change oil and how to do different things, how to do manly things. And I believe my mom knew that was important for us. So she know that I don't want them to see, I don't want them to see female tendencies and gravitate to that. I want them to see male tendencies from them so they can pick up on those things. But I can teach them values. I can teach them traits, but I can't teach them how to be the man that that God would want them to be. So that's kind of my take on that. I don't think it's too much important. I think it's just differentiating between the male part of it and the female part of it.
Okay. Values and traits. Okay, yeah. Okay, then moving on, what are some of the harmful results of too many interactions with all sisters, aunts, female cousins, and others? And you alluded to some of that in what you just finished saying, Dr. Joseph Levette. But I'm going to start with you, Deacon Dan Smith. What are some of the harmful results of too many interactions with all sisters, aunts, female cousins, and others?
Well, some of the harmful one I think of is young man intimacy with another woman. That's one, and relationship with himself, himself, and leadership authority. You sisters and aunts, each one have a different opinion, and how do they approach their nephew or brother is of difference, because you could have an angry sister that has angry, have anger with a boyfriend or problems or something like that. She gonna instill into the young man something totally different. That what she gonna see out what a man should be. But those, you got to break those because these a relationship is a challenge between you got aunts, female cousin, and others. So that relationship and that interaction can be devastating if it's not the right approach or the right material given to the juvenile, to the young man. So, but that's something that we need to be careful with, or what they're doing. And I guess the old thing say, first examine yourself. Yeah, they need to first examine themselves before they start imparting with the young man, and make sure what they're giving him or what they're imparting in him is not going to be harmful.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, Dr. Levette, what are some of the harmful results of too many interaction with sisters, aunts, and females and cousins?
Well, like I did kind of allude to it earlier, but if they're not careful and they have too many interactions with them, then that male can begin to pick up female tendencies, like popping their wrist, smacking their lips, and all of them things that are more specific to women. And if they pick up those female tendencies, As they get older, it's hard to break because it becomes, as children, as starting off as boys, they mimic adults. They really do. They mimic a lot of things. If you watch even little girls, like I watch my granddaughters, they mimic their mothers. I'll look at them and I say, man, that was you, 10, 15 years ago. That was, 18, 20 years ago, that was you walking around behind your mama, trying to walk like her and act like her, and so we have to make sure, women have to make sure that they don't allow their sons to pick up those female tendencies. And when they see them, they need to address it and make sure that they understand. When I was growing up, I had 3 sisters and then 4 brothers. So growing up, we could play to some degree with my sisters with their dolls. But if I walk around the corner just playing with a doll, my dad was like, pop that thing up, pop it out your hand and be like, no. We're not doing that. We're not even going to start that. So, you just have to be careful how you, because they are mimicking you. So you have to be careful what it is you are teaching them.
Okay. All right, Coach Miller, you want to add to that? I mean, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, the power of observation is so serious in a child's life, being that a boy growing up around a lot of females. I mean, I had a friend, I can remember, he referred to the fact that he had 5 sisters and he was the youngest. So they would dress him up. And it wasn't until an uncle or a boyfriend come around and say, hey, his dad wasn't around, but a boyfriend would come around, but who dated his mom and was like, hey, get that boy out of them shoes. But now they just playing in the room because he got 5 sisters. He got 5 sisters and he's the only boy and he's like 3 years younger than the girl. So he's little and he just want to hang. He want to hang. Human beings are social creatures. And so you want to fit in. You want to hang, you want to fit in. And if the pack that you're hanging with, if they're all females and you're a little child, now maybe a little bit later you learn how to separate that, right? But as a little child, if it's 5 girls and 1 boy, and the boy of the pack is 4 years old, and the youngest of girl is 5, 6, and 8, and 9, and 11, they liable to put lipstick on your lips. They liable to start braiding your hair, and you're 4 years old. You even ain't got no sight. You're like, until your mama come in that room and go, what y'all doing? And if the mama ain't got no sense to capture the danger of this concept being pushed, because persuasion is coming through this plague. Persuasion, habits, training, interests is all being formulated at this particular time. That may not be the child's natural nature, but a lot of times these things are picked up at this very early age. Later to only say, hey, watch this. Then you're turning 16. Oh, the happiest time in my life was when I would play with my sisters when I was 4. Well, your sisters, them was the most persuasive, influential voices in your life. Now you're going back to what you call a happy moment and trying to define your life at 16 as the happy moment that you recall. When the truth is, happy moments don't have to be your life. Happy moments can simply be just that, a happy moment.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Being around, a lot of females, you could somehow end up, mimicking and picking up, little things along the way that, the females do. So that is, a problem, and it's something that definitely needs to be watched carefully, in our, young men, coming up, being around a lot of females. Okay, moving on, guys. I have a question for you. Is the issue that there is such a huge female presence of the lack of a male role model to teach young men those things that only men can teach? Is the issue that there is such a huge female presence or the lack of a male role model to teach young men those things only men can teach? Okay, I'm going to start off with you on that one, Coach Ricardo Miller.
Yeah, I think there is a big absentee of a lot of men. around to do their respective job in training the next generation. And oftentimes in that particular situation, but there's no absentee of men in our society. There are men in our society. There may not be men who are representing so much in the family. There may be difficulty in finding good, established, reputable men in the neighborhood. But let me tell you something. I've met mothers who are adamant, I'm going to raise a boy who is going to do well in being a man. Okay? And so with that said, I heard mentioned earlier, the youth pastor, I need my son to sign up to be a junior worker. I need him to work close with you. There's a small job opportunity on Saturdays to serve. Hey, can he help cut grass with you? Can he do some chores around your house? Because observation is a big influence on a child's development. And so, is there a shortage of distinguished men in a lot of young men's lives? There is a shortage, but there's a statement that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I believe this with my whole heart. Someone is assigned to help you. Now, the question is, are you willing to do the work to ask the uncle? Are you willing to do the work to ask the coach? Are you willing to do the work to ask your neighbor? Are you willing to do the work to talk to your youth pastor? Oh, I don't have time for that. Then your son is going to feel the fact that you don't have time. But for those parents who are adamant you're going to do well, they would sign their boys up to join programs like the Boys Brigade we had in the Bahamas. They would go across town for them to be a part of a football team or join a marching band or, you know what I'm saying, some type of scouts to ensure that, hey, I don't have it in the house, but that don't mean I can't get that development in your life.
Okay, thank you. All right, Deacon Smith, how do you feel about that question?
I guess one thing, we do have a lack of male role models, but I'm gonna put a twist in here just a little. We have some men more interested in the lady, the single parent, so much interested in the lady, they'll say anything, but they're not interested in the child.
That's good.
Wow.
So if a young lady is want to date a young man and he'll tell her anything, but I'm gonna work with your son, this, that, and nothing comes out of it because he's not interested in the young male. He's interested in the mother only.
Right.
So he has the motive. But just like when I was coaching baseball, I had over 40 boys out there. Maybe 2 or 3 girls. But the parent came to me, a couple of parents came to me, I'd rather bring my son over here because your motive is not to run behind me or chase after me, but your motive is for my child.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we need, we got to, like I say, is like a role models. So, but we got to make sure that when you do find that role model, what is his agenda?
Yeah.
What direction he's going to take your child? I can be, I love to work with young men. Matter of fact, I was in the store a couple of days ago, and I'm talking about coaching for me. Been see, Chris is 31. We're talking about 25 years ago. One of the same fellows I had. Hey, Coach Dan, how you doing? Fine. I said, how you doing? How your family doing? He said, man, it's good to see you. You taught me a lot.
Wow.
I got a family now, and I watched you a whole lot. So my biggest thing there for as coaches or whatever, make sure you're interested in the kids and not the parents.
That's good.
Okay, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, make sure you're interested in kids, not the parents. And that's, we got a lot of people, a lot of men that can be good role models, that are good role models. And just, so they're out there. It's just the point of them working with the kids. But we do need, more men to be in the role model because it can help the young men very much. Because I'm seeing We was talking to my son yesterday. I said, well, son, a little bit harder out on the street than when I was out there. You could be a role model, but they disrespect law enforcement now. It's not something that they show respect to or whatever. You try to be a role model to them. And I done told you all this before, where I had one kid I had to arrest, and he got himself together and he come by my office. And like I say, he scared me a little bit, but he came in and told me, hey, I appreciate what you did. I'm in college now. He's very proud of what he's done. So yeah, we need more male role models, but we need the ones that got just the agenda of developing and helping with the kid.
No players.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah, be very wary of the motives that these people have when they're trying to come into someone's life that have kids. What is their motive? Is it about the woman, or is it about the child or the kid? So, okay, Dr. Levette, what's your perspective on this?
Well, to answer that question, I say it's both. We have a huge female, presence, because we got to look at what's going on in the world. Not only is teenage pregnancy constantly on rise, but so is now. I heard recently, not too long ago, that college age pregnancies are on the rise.
Wow.
So the more we have a lot of these young women that are getting pregnant, they're getting pregnant. It come back to even what Deacon Dan was saying. That guy, even in that situation, they interested in being with her and having sexual relations with her, but they're not interested in the responsibility that come with that, because we see what happens all the time. Oh, that's not my baby, and all of that come about. And so the huge presence of women is because the men don't want to be involved in the life of the child, and there's a lack of role models for that very reason, because there are a lot of men who don't want to be involved in their own child life. So it puts a lot of pressure on those different type of organizations like Operation Save Our Son and Hope Kids Alliance, all them different organizations that try to help where a woman can bring her child and to be safe. And one of the things that, and I want to say this, because one of the things about a huge female presence happen because some women don't trust men, because a lot of guys who turn out to be homosexual and things like that, it happens because sometimes they're violated by men.
Yeah.
And because they're violated by men, some women hear that, or they've experienced it throughout somewhere in their family or in their community. And when they experience it, they're like, okay, nope, I'm not sending my son. I'll raise him myself. And that's what that stigmatism get to. That's why it's got to be a strong male presence. And it's got to be that strong male presence to know that a woman can trust the man to help her with the male attributes that this young man need to further his life, rather than her trying to instill, because she can't instill in him how to be a man. So that's kind of my take on that.
Deacon Levette, I so love that statement you just mentioned. One of the things I've been pushing the envelope when it comes to parents, when it comes to leaders, these taboo topics. A lot of times people have bad experiences as in their childhood years, and I won't touch it, but I'm raising my child. But if you know that all family members are not safe, then how about you start getting to the point where you tell your family, hey man, y'all, let's remember when we were kids, all of our uncles weren't safe. Some certain grandpas weren't safe. But we should push it under the rug, become protective with our initial, but never address the root, never addressing the suspicious behavior that may have damaged the family, may have damaged some of the boys in the family, may have damaged, I went to school and I saw teachers who dated my friends, so I could be like, But back then, it was a little different kind of vibe. You know, when you're in the 11th grade, you're talking to a teacher, we give you credit, you get stripes like in the military.
Yeah.
But that's wrong, right? It's wrong. So why aren't people talking about, okay, there is a moment that it looks admirable, but the fact of the matter is a lot of wrong is just not wanting to be put out on the table and talked about. I think a lot of women who've seen wrong should not talk about wrong in an angry way per se, but they need to talk about wrong to expose the lies of the past to bring about a better future for the next generation.
That's right. Discuss it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, guys. What are some of the behaviors that females should not impart into their male juvenile? Some of the behaviors that females should not impart to a male juvenile. Now I'm gonna start with you on that, Deacon Smith.
Well, I think they shouldn't. They should have great respect for their juvenile child, their male child. Some behaviors, how they walk around the house, whether it be, I don't want to say underwear and bra or whatever. You should always be respectful, with your son, and so he don't pick up none of those traits of how you dressing and acting. Discipline is another one. Female got to be, she got to be very disciplined with her son. She got to respect her son as the point of this is what you do, this is what I do, and let him know the difference. So those two are the things. But with the challenging times that we have, maybe sometimes it's hard for some of the female parents to not be able to do certain things because just female only, you might have a lot of getting ready for work, doing things in that her ways of doing things. Not only that, her ways of acting around her girlfriends or whatever. Because a lot of time a young man be watching them acting like that, he picks up different things. So they got to watch what they do and pay close attention, because it's easy to pick up with something that you're watching your mama do, whereas to your mama not telling you this is what you don't do. Because my mama, as long as she lives, she's 100 now, she never, displayed her underwear or her bras or anything like that while she was in the house. She always have a house coat. That was a no-no. I mean, that's how she raised us, 2 boys and 2 girls. So, and also don't, make sure you just don't disrespect your child in any way, because that's something that will really, I think, get into their mind, mess with their mindset, how things going. But it's just those things that's very uncomfortable around a male as he get older. So that's some of the things that they should not do.
Okay, dangers of picking up female traits.
Right.
Okay. All right, Dr. Levette, what are some of the behaviors that females shouldn't impart into their male juvenile?
I say for me, just the way you walk, the way you talk, a lot of those things, if a woman is not careful, their son would pick up those by, I think Coach Miller said it earlier, they observing you. So they pick up on that. And so if they see you flicking your wrist and all of that, they're going to flick their wrist, when they talk. And one of the big things I think is how a woman, how their mother relate to other men. That is a big thing, because certain behaviors they see their mom do to other men, they would think that's what's going to happen to me. So it may cause them to say, you know what, I ain't even going to deal with, I don't want to deal with women. Because that, so that's a behavior. If you're not careful, they pick up on that behavior. That could cause them to say, you know what, I don't even want to deal with no women. Because they got, the way look at the way my mom talked to her friend or her cousin or whoever, all with that attitude and with that, treating them really bad, or even a relationship they in and how they're responding and relating to that guy. It's important because if she want to show him how to be a man, she got to show him by, when she dating someone, she got to say how that respect, that respect for that man, so that he can see that, this is how, a woman should treat a man. And then and vice versa, it teaches a man how they're treating a woman. Because if you're treating a woman good, the boy will see good traits from that male. They'll see good traits. If you're treating them good and they're treating you good, they'll pick up on those traits. So, I think just for behavior purposes, though, you just gotta watch how your son is picking up on the things you do and make sure they don't get those female tendencies and pick up on those.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. All right, Coach Miller, tell us how you feel about this.
Yeah, I have a few things. One, hey man, don't be putting no fingernail polish on that little nigga. The little dude, man, come on. Hey man, sometimes a lot of niggas bored, right? Listen, go ahead. I've seen this happen before, and I'm like, hey, you got a son, only child, you're bored, you're hanging around the house, you're doing your nails, you're gonna tell the little dude, come on over here, come help mama. And so you're trying to have him learn how to do your nails, and then you're doing his nails, and it's a play date moment. You're the mama, okay? He's a boat, okay? And
that's it.
Watch this. I'm gonna stay home today on this Saturday. Me and my son, we're gonna just watch these chick flicks. You got him all up in there. He all wrap up and all that stuff. Hey, listen, get outside, boy. Go outside. Go sweat a while. We'll play in the backyard or something.
That's
because
right.
you start to frame out certain behaviors that are you as a mother, as a female. And that this innocent child is in the most moldable stage of their life. And they appears, okay, it's probably okay. Then if the woman has some girlfriends who are doing similar. So now all these little boys are growing up around these very feminine environments where the fathers are absent. And you wonder, so what's up with that? So what I think is, you got to be careful of trying to make your boy child, your friend, your little girlfriend around the house. Getting him so caught up in so much of the female practice is because only y'all two are at the house that you forgot that this boy is going to have to become a man one day, and the behaviors that you are feeding him is about to raise a girl. You're trying to raise a girl, and so I think it's wrong, and I think even on the vice versa, a lot of guys who have to raise their daughters have to remind themselves, hey, I got to make sure I don't raise my daughter to be too much of a tomboy to the point where she leans over because she don't have a mother in her life. She ends up with all of this male dominant masculine energy. So if men who are raising girls without the mother have to pay attention to keep the girl alive in the girl to become a woman, then mothers who actually do more of this, there are more single mamas, I think it is. I think there are more single mamas raising boys. I think you have to be respectful of the process and says, you know what? I am not going to allow my boy to overly engage himself in feminine activities because I realize how much that can affect him later.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Most definitely. All right, guys. What recommendation do you have for young men who feel femininely overwhelmed as they get older and realize things are uncomfortable? what recommendations do you have for young men who feel femininely overwhelmed and they get older and realize things are uncomfortable? And I'm gonna start with you, Dr. Levesque.
I would say, first of all, they've got to find a good, real man mentor. They have to find someone that who are like them, that they can relate to, that they don't see those, one, they don't see female tendencies in them, for one, and two, somebody who's a man, somebody who's a hardworking man, who they can say, yeah, that's what a man should be like. I think what happens a lot of times, and this, I'm gonna throw this out there because this could almost be kind of an elephant in the room, but sometimes women too, they'll have a best friend that's a man that's homosexual.
Yeah.
And they have them as a best friend. And what happens, that son grows up watching him with all of his female tendencies. And he gets confused in his mind, like, okay, Uncle John don't act like that, but Mama's best friend Trevon act like that and acts like her. They both girl and all of that. And because of that, they gets confused, and that's where the overwhelming part of that question comes in. They gets overwhelmed by, okay, I don't know what, because Trevon acting this way, but Uncle John acting this way. I think that Uncle John got somebody in the family or another male sometime have to recognize that and maybe step in and say, let me show you, this is how you supposed to be as a man. And then sometimes it take other women to talk to their women and say, girl, that ain't good for your son.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. You can have who you want as a friend, but that ain't good for your son when he's always over your house. And then you're letting him take him to the mall. You letting him take him to the store. You don't know what's transpiring and what he's saying to him. And talking about that's your uncle and all of that. No. That's why I said you gotta have a strong male model mentor that you can talk to. Tell them what you really feeling. Somebody you can open up to. Tell them what you really feeling in your heart and what you feeling in your mind. And so that way they can help you, and they can come against that thing and start telling you what is the right way to be a man.
Okay. Most definitely. Okay, Deacon Smith, how you feel about that?
What I feel about it? I'm gonna go straight to the Bible. I'm gonna tell them, I say, God made man and God made woman. He made nothing in between. He made nothing on the other side. So why are you acting out this way? Trying to find out, where are you coming from when there's nothing but two, a male and a female was made. We don't have anything on the other side. So how are you picking up these traits? How are you picking up these habits? You need to avoid them. You need to, just stay away from them, leave them alone. Even going a little dead. Hey, why are you acting this way? Find out what's wrong with them. Find out what direction they're going in, and how they become that. Not only that, they could say, I know my mom used to tell me some of her best friends was these males that became something else, and but that is never brung around us. You saw it when you went out in the street, and then your parents tell you, explain to them, now this is not what you be. God made man and woman. So that's where I am still in there. I go straight to the Bible. I wouldn't cut no corners with them and see how much I can help them.
Definitely. Bible is the way. All right, Coach Miller. I know you got a lot to say about this, right?
Man, why you pulling on me, man? I got a lot to say. No, but all jokes aside, I would say to a young man, what you feed grows. what you give your attention to become more your reality. And if you start leaning towards feminine behavior, if you start hanging with feminine people who have feminine behavior, if you start watching television program that has more of a compromising idea, what you feed grows. That becomes more of. It starts with the conditioning of your mind. It starts with the acceptance within your head of this is okay, this is okay. Well, a lot of things ain't okay. A lot of things ain't okay because a lot of things ain't right. But what if a lot of people are doing it? And we live in a society today, not because a lot of people are doing it means it's right. They're not because people are loud about what they're saying mean that they're right. Not because people in authority may be doing it sometimes means it is right. And so I think that I would say to a young man, watch what you're feeding yourself. Watch what you're giving your attention to, because what you give your attention to grows. If you give your attention to more that of the masculine energy, if you give attention to hanging out with men who are real men, who are representation. I remember when I grew up in a single parent home, when I got one of my first real job with Bishop Dean Wells, I noticed how his wife brought his meal. I noticed how his children respect him. I noticed how he was admired in the community. I looked at it, I was like, I like his behavior. See what you feed grow. So I leaned into, I'm going to go to his church. I'm going to serve on his team. I ended up working for his company. And association matters. Association matters. Who you hang with the most, you'll become more alike.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Guys, I just have a question that I want to add. Do y'all think society is making this thing harder for young men? Because in a lot of instances, especially, on TV or on, the internet, social media, they're saying it's okay to act like that. It's okay to be like that. Be yourself. Don't worry about what nobody else say. What do you have to say about that, Coach Mills? I know you're getting ready to say something.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there real quick. I know these guys got. Hey, watch it. I know these guys have a lot to say, just like you told me. but I have to say this: we live in a society, almost 8 billion people on the planet. The Burger King slogan, "Have it your way," is what we promote as a society. Have it your way, and so there is a lot of ideologies being formed. And so I was talking to my eldest sister yesterday, and I said, we live in a society today, no matter what you believe, there's a group of people that will endorse it and almost form an organization around it. And so if I wanted to marry an elephant, there would be people who would be like, hey, let him have his way. He's 47 years old. He can do what he wants to do. In the confinement of his property, you know what I'm saying? And so forth. So I think that is what's really driving our society to be what it is. Now, here's what I found to be also a problem. Our society is pushing have it your way. And we have a lot of children who aren't being taught in the home as to the way.
Right.
And you're left to society, which the school is now being considered society because the school is neutral. And schools are becoming neutral ground. They're not hitting no points. Churches are becoming neutral grounds. Associations are becoming neutral grounds. All of the media and television platforms are neutral grounds. And so you can have a standard in your home. Nobody can tell you you're wrong for the standard which is in your home. But the problem is the home standard isn't strong anymore.
Right. Exactly. Definitely agree with that. Once you leave that house, things are to go ahead, Dr. Levette.
Yeah, I would say, and to add to that is, we live in a society now as it has become and evolved. We come in a society where this younger generation is really into experimenting. Yeah. They will experiment in all kind of things, sexual deviations, all kind of things that we wouldn't dare to experience in our growing up, but they are experiencing, even if they just try it. They're going to try this. That's why, I mean, and that's with everything. That's with drugs. That's with sexuality. That's with just almost everything. It's all about, go back to that word we heard earlier, influence. Whatever that influences them, or wherever they feel like they can fit in, that's where they jump in sometimes. Now, sometimes they'll realize, nope, this ain't for me, and they'll jump out. But then there's always another thing that's waiting for them. So that might not have got them, but this might pull them in a little more. So it's so many things out in the society that causes them to experiment. That's why we have to have a strong value still in the home. Our values in our homes got to be like the Word of God. It can't change. The message can't change. The methods may change, but the message cannot change, because we have to change some of the methods, because the methods that would work for us don't work for this generation. But the message of values in the home, how to respect your elders, and how you're supposed to act when you're out in public, those don't change. So if we keep the message, keep that message of strong family, because it starts in the home. It starts in the home, and and a lot of times it'll be better if they stay in the home.
But I noticed that our government role, like you say, society, is the government saying, "Oh, it's okay." Yeah.
Right.
They don't allow same-sex marriage.
Yep.
It's okay. You look at television now. You got male kissing males, female kissing females.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay to show it now.
Yeah.
Years ago, you couldn't show that on television.
Not at all.
So I think that's totally wrong. So why we're fighting? You're gonna fight the government. You're gonna fight social media, but you got to be stronger than both, because you got to win at home.
Yeah,
That's
Exactly.
If you can win at home, you're good. But all this, with all this coming out, and with the drugs coming out, and I tell you, we had one here, this fentanyl and all this other stuff is going around.
Yes.
Where it is ridiculous.
Horrible.
It's very ridiculous. When I was out there working the streets, when they started with crack cocaine, they developed it for us, blacks, because of a cheap way of cocaine and whatever mixture they put with it. But then they found out the other races was using it more than we were.
Right.
So, but that was something I couldn't understand. I mean, you got, when I was patrolling, you got beautiful young ladies, you got all races just walking the street. You got $10. All they want to do is buy them some crack. So our society is, with the social media and our society, something got to happen. We got to put the brakes on it some kind of way. I don't know how we're going to do it.
It's hard. It's definitely hard. And Karen Miller was saying right there in her comments, you have to win at home, and it's so true. And that is true. You have to win at home. We have to talk to our kids. We have to try to instill, the values, the moral values that we have, at home. And like Dr. Levette was saying, it's hard. It's an uphill battle. Because once they leave that house, all of that mess is out there. It's just hard, So we have a task that we're trying to overcome. And with this generation and the way they got things out there now, it seems like it's almost impossible, but never give up. I would always say, no matter what's going on, never give up. Stay true to what you believe and what you're doing and what you're putting down. And keep your foot down. Never lift your foot up, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay, guys, our closing thoughts, what advice do you give young men to assist them in avoiding negative emotional issues involved with living in a village of women that would help them to build their best lives? I'm going to say this again. What advice do you give young men to assist them in avoiding negative emotional issues involved with living in a village of women that will help them to build their best life. We're going to go out with the closing thought with you first, Dr. Levette.
I say first, I'm going to try to wrap it up quick and say, as for a young man, a young boy, you take the things that apply to either a male or female. If you're living in a single home with your mom, you take the things that apply to both, which are those we talked about earlier, those values and traits. You pick up on those and you take those and you keep them near and dear your heart. But in the same manner, you also find you a male mentor who can teach you how to become a man, so that way you don't have to worry about picking up female mannerisms, because you'll know the difference between what a man is and what a woman is.
Okay, Coach Ricardo Miller, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts to young men that are viewing this: be intentional. Be very intentional. Have a strategy. You grew up in a single parent home, or you're growing up in a home and an environment that is dominated by women. Join programs that are very strong in the development of becoming a male man and growing up with all things respectable to that of being a successful man. And so I would say be very intentional, be very strategic. Make sure that you're in the spaces that represent who you want to become. Okay, sign up for those type of programs, even as much as what you watch on TV. You know what I mean? What you follow on social media, what you're paying attention to on YouTube. What you feed grows. What you give your attention to becomes more your reality.
Gotcha. Okay, Deacon Smith, your final thoughts.
My final thought is find an appropriate distance that allows you to be free but yet connected. Free of these society things that's going on, connected. This will help a man, like his life and his leadership, to follow his relationships and respectful and be mutual. So that's what I just got to say. Hey, find yourself. Find a space that can be free but yet connected. You don't have to go out and do all these different things that you're doing.
All right, thank you.
That's my final thought.
Thank you. And, I just want to say, thank you to these three distinguished men for being here today. Thank Coach Deborah Smith for having me on as a guest host. And I just want to say that, it's better to train early than to fix later. And everybody that joined today, that sent their comments and their views and everything, thank you for that. We definitely appreciate that. And once again, this is a great platform to learn, to experience, to listen, and to chime in on, every second Saturday, of the month, tune in, to Build Your Best Life conversation with the guys, because these guys here are awesome. They're experienced, they're knowledgeable. And each time I'm on with them, I'm learning as well as everybody else that's listening. So I want to say, for Coach Deborah Smith and all these distinguished guys, thank you for tuning in and joining with us. And we hope to see you again second Saturday in the month of August. Thank y'all so much. And I love y'all. Can't wait to see y'all again. We are out.
Right. Oh.
Oh.
No matter what.